All right, friends, and hello. We are working through some Mercury retrograde stuff. That's what we're doing. And we're going to try again because that's what we do too. So I am hoping that this is coming to you and that you are able to see me and hear me clearly now. So I'm going to hang tight for a couple of minutes while we give everybody a chance to get on, and hopefully our connection stays and we are in good shape. But we are certainly getting some practice with Mercury retrograde. So if you are joining me live and you can see me and hear me, will you let me know? Let me know if it's steady or if I'm dropping on and off. That would be really helpful because I can't tell. And Mercury retrograde likes to play its little Mercury retrograde things on us all. So you guys are able to see me just read and stay connected to all of you. But I know it makes a mess. Connection looks fine now. Okay, is it looking fine to all of you? Are we good? We're back. We're doing okay. Let's see. Let me know if you guys can hear me. If you can see me, then we can get started. Connection looks fine now, is what I'm hearing. How about for the rest of you? Is connection fine now? My system is going crazy. If you're joining me live, guys, if you're on Facebook or on YouTube, if you can just give me a comment, that will help me be able to tell if it's coming through okay. Okay, you see me, you hear me. We think it's okay. We're not really sure, but we're going to give it a shot. Okay, Elena, Rita, see me, hear me. Okay, Matt, you can see me and hear me. Even just my system is freaking out. Okay, it's been okay the last couple of minutes. All right, that's a good sign. Hello, friends. Come on in. We're just, playing with a little Mercury retrograde fun for, a change. Because why not, I guess. So we're going to get started, guys, and just dive in. And I'm going to do my best. All right. So, okay. Yep. On YouTube. All right, guys, we're going to get started. And thanks for joining me. So, yes, as I was saying, I am home. I'm starting all over again. So, welcome to SOLtalk, friends. I am home. This is the good sign. This is the good thing. I am home from a 2-week trip to Ireland and Scotland. An amazing trip, a challenging trip, and lots in between. And although I really like to have my suitcase unpacked by now, I still have one left to unpack. And I think I'm feeling settled. I jet lag is gone. I only had it for a few days, which was good for a lot of reasons, which I'm going to go into in just a couple of minutes and share with you a little bit about my trip, a little bit about what I learned. And then I'm going to also share with you some insights that I think would be helpful for all of you. So let's get started, friends.
So self-service, that's the way. Welcome to Soul Talk, shine today.
All right, welcome back, everybody. It is so good to have you here. It is so good to be back and be home. If this is your first time with me, I'm Sunny Dawn Johnston, and this is Soul Talk, where soul meets real life. If you enjoy what you hear today, please hit that like button, subscribe button, comment, share, all the things. If something sits right with you, if it feels like it really hits home for you, then share that in the chat and in the comments, because I read for real every single one of them. So we are going to dive in today. I am so happy. This episode's a little different, guys, because I'm going to be sharing actually some of the experiences I had on my trip to Ireland and Scotland. And I'm going to be sharing with you some of the awarenesses that have come from that and the contrast that I experienced on this journey. But I thought I would start by just kind of taking you through some of the journey, because there are a lot of parts to it, and a lot of times I think we don't take the time to really, I don't know, take it all in. And I certainly haven't had the space to really soak it all up. So let's start. 2 weeks ago, a little over 2 weeks ago, we arrived in Ireland and Scotland. Well, we arrived in Ireland. It was me and 28 other beautiful souls that trusted me enough to say yes to an adventure. And, with Ireland and Scotland, I wasn't exactly sure where we're going to go or what we're going to do when I first decided to do this trip. guys still there? Are you still there? Is it still working? I don't know what the problem is. I'm so sorry, friends. You just see a black screen. Oh, I'm back. Jeez Louise, I don't know what else to do, friends. Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to try to keep going, guys. And I'm so sorry. I don't know. Again, Mercury retrograde. I don't know if I need to say anything else. That seems to be, I think that's enough to say, isn't it? Mercury retrograde. Done. Okay. All right. So I'm going to just keep going, and I hope I don't crash again. Okay. Okay. Now let me see. Oh, geez. The whole system. I wonder if this isn't even a me system. It's just the system, is what it seems like. Because the rest of the system isn't working either. Hang on one sec, friends. Okay. Yeah, the whole system isn't working. All right, guys. I'm just gonna do my best. We're gonna try to do whatever we can do. Okay. So bear with me. We'll edit this shit out and hopefully be able to create a good copy here. Okay. So let's start with, so 2 weeks ago, I left to head to Ireland with 28 other beautiful souls. And one of the things that I love about being able to travel is that, and I really recognize this as a deep value that I appreciate so much, is that people trust me to say yes to an adventure that they don't even know. They don't know exactly what they're going to experience. They don't know exactly what's going to happen. They jump on a plane and they come on a trip, and although they have an itinerary and all those things, and they trust me, and I don't take that lightly. I put a lot of time and energy and effort and holding space so that people can join. And I recognize that people are leaving their families and their schedules and their routines and their comfort, and trusting me to share with them and to take them on these adventures across the world. And it's not a small thing. And I think it's really sacred. So it means a lot to me. And over the years, I've taken people on so many trips across the world. Thailand and Mexico and the Caribbean and Alaska and Spain and Peru. And it has been such a beautiful journey traveling with so many souls. I learn a lot. They learn a lot. I think it's been about 10 years now. And so, when I think about all of the trips, there's so much that we learn. I think we learn so much about ourselves when we travel. We learn about life. We learn about where we're inflexible. We learn about where we like to control. I mean, if we're willing to learn, if we're willing to learn. And I'm blessed that most of the people that travel with me are willing to learn, and they take it as some reflection as well. So I think that's one of the reasons that I do this, and I do it so often, is because I get to bring so many of you along, and even people that can't physically go, I get to take them along on the virtual journeys, which is awesome as well. So let's dive into the trip. I'm going to kind of go little by little through some of the different things that we saw and experienced, and hopefully this will give you a little taste of it. And also some of the personal perspectives and some of the challenging sides of this trip. I think anytime that you leave, you open yourself up for change and for growth and for expansion and for healing and for awareness and for contrast. And in my personal experience, this was probably the most contrast I've experienced on a trip. And it didn't have anything to do with the place. It didn't have anything to do with the people. It had to do with my own personal life, and my family and close circle of people at home. So let's start with the day we landed. So we landed in Shannon, Ireland. Lots of people were jet lagged and at the same time, like ready to go, wide eyed, and like, okay, let's go. Within hours of landing, we were in at the Cliffs of Moher, and it was super windy, and really cold, like wind that takes your breath away, wind, and takes your hats away also, and whatever else you might have on. And it was amazing. We saw the little puffins, which was super fun. I got some pictures of them, although you had to really blow it up to see them, but there was thousands of puffins. So that was really cool. And then we went to the Ring of Kerry. We see the Ring of Kerry very well because it was one of the days that we had a lot of rain. We got to do these things called jaunting carts, and jaunting carts are like carts that are pulled by horses that are kind of more like a Clydesdale type of horse, and that was amazing. But it was pouring rain, and because it was pouring rain, it was like raining sideways. It was, I don't know, a traditional Irish experience, I guess. And that was kind of cool. So it was beautiful. And we went to Killarney National Park. We got to go to unusual, and it's very unique. So that was the experience with the Blarney Stone. And some people, especially people that were scared of heights, that was scary for them. Like it made them nervous. But the Blarney Stone was cool. So I did kiss the Blarney Stone. Everybody that was with me, not meaning not our entire group, but a lot of people that were with me kissed the Blarney Stone. And some chose not to, and that was totally okay as well. But it was a cool experience, and the Blarney Castle is amazing. But let me tell you what's even more amazing. Even more amazing than the Blarney Castle is the land that the castle is on. The land that the castle is on is, I mean, the gardens are stunning. The environment is just beautiful. The flowers, they have gardens of all the poisonous plants, and the most beautiful. I mean, it was so gorgeous. So my goal is to get some of those pictures up uh, as soon as I can. So the Blarney Castle was great. And here's the thing: as we did the cathedrals, and we did the cobblestone streets, and walked all of those, and we got to see all of the castles, and all these beautiful places. But on the 21st of June, which is the solstice, the summer solstice, we got to go to the Rock of Cashel. And this is like a cluster of medieval stone, and it's limestone. And that afternoon, then I got the opportunity to do a summer solstice, and I held this ceremony at an old church. It was actually the oldest medieval church still in use in all of Ireland. And I can't remember how old it was. I think maybe 700 AD, very old. And it was also, the summer solstice was also my granddaughter's 19th birthday. And my granddaughter actually traveled with us to Ireland and Scotland, which was a beautiful gift. So she got to be a part of the ceremonies and the entire journey, which was beautiful. But that day, the summer solstice, was a very difficult day as well. The night before, in the middle of the night in Ireland, I got a call from my family, my son, that with some very concerning news about a family member that really was devastating and scary. And so when I woke up, well, I don't know that I actually slept that night, but when it was time to get up and get going, I had this whole community of people, these adventurers that were on a trip with me, that I needed to show up for. And so that day, with it being Elena's birthday and it being a day that people were really looking forward to, and the summer solstice and a ceremony that I had promised people, I had a lot of contrast. So within the 24 hours, I got the news that was really shocking and sad and heart-wrenching. And then I also got to celebrate my granddaughter's 19th birthday and be with her in that experience. And then I also got to stand in this 1,000-year-old sacred site where we got to celebrate the longest day of light. And let me tell you about contrast, right? The contrast of that experience was life-changing in a lot of ways, because when we have contrast and we walk in a place where we're excited and there's celebration and there's joy and it's a summer solstice and it's a birthday and all of those things, and then at the same time I feel like I'm being pulled in all these directions that nobody knows about but me, right? So I want to be home. I want to be present for my family, for my kids. I want to also be present to the beautiful souls that trusted me on this journey. And I also want to be present to myself. And so it was hard to know exactly where to be. And there's no right answer. I think you just sit in the space and you do the best you can with what you have, and you keep breathing and focusing and recognizing that right now in this moment, this is the contrast of life. And, I think a lot of times we have a tendency to, want to experience all the good without any of the bad. And I think that's human nature, and it's not reality. Life doesn't work that way. And I think contrast is what teaches us. And even though I wasn't prepared and wasn't ready and wasn't interested and really felt a lot of struggle and pull, I also knew that I was where I was supposed to be, even though I didn't like it. Okay. Even though I didn't like it. I'm sure you've been in times of contrast in your own life, and, being across the world, literally, there's no control. There's nothing you can do outside of accept what is, right? So at that ceremony, I asked everyone to put a hand on their heart and to ask themselves what they were willing to and ready for more in their life. whether it was joy or peace or trust or connection or communication or whatever it happened to be. And that was a really beautiful ceremony, and it was a beautiful day, and the sun was shining, which the sun doesn't shine a lot in Ireland. And so that was really special. And it was difficult. It was hard to walk that journey, not having people know what was going on, and also not feeling like it was the right thing to do to share it. And so I made the best choice I could at the time, and that's exactly what I did. So then the next day we went to Belfast, and we went to the Titanic Museum, which was fascinating. It really is remarkable to think that how long it took for them to, number one, build those boats, and then also the amount of work it took, and how they knew what to do so long ago without the understanding the information, the science that we have now. It was fascinating. It was fascinating. Then we drove through Belfast, and we drove along the Peace Wall, and that Peace Wall still exists today. It gets locked at 6 o'clock every night, still today. And then we watched people that were writing on that Peace Wall. And when I was witnessing that, I was really thinking about and some of the other people had mentioned this too, like how the wall is, brick and stone, and it creates what some people consider safety, but sometimes so that protection, but sometimes it also can keep everything else out, and also it doesn't let things in. And so I was thinking about the walls that humanity tends to build, and that we've seen in our own experience. And those walls are of hurt and fear and shame and guilt, and the old stories that we tell ourselves, that maybe aren't even true, right? I think most of the time when we build a wall, it gets built because of protection. But healing, I think, and I think this is really important, but healing starts, it starts when we're willing to open up, maybe open the gate, and leave it open, and start to create some connection and some communication. So that was interesting, and I enjoyed all the different places that we stopped. My granddaughter got a tattoo in Cork, which is a cute little town. We were on the river. It was beautiful. So such a cool place. Then we headed to Scotland. And so we got on a ferry, and we were on a ferry for about 2 hours. It was a little bit longer than 2 hours because it had some problems with the ferry. But by the time we got on it, it was a couple of hours, and we got to cross over to Scotland, which was really beautiful. I love water. I love being on the boat. That was fantastic. I think it was symbolic. It was symbolic of going from one shore to another shore. And Scotland was a different kind of energy and a different kind of magic, I guess. We went to the Glasgow Cathedral, my favorite cathedral of all of them. We went to the necropolis, which I think they said it was either 30,000. I think it was 30,000 people were buried there. In Scotland, we did a boat ride across Loch Lomond, which was a little bit rainy but beautiful. And again, I like the water. We did a whiskey tour. We toured a whiskey distillery, and several brave people did their shots of whiskey. Not this girl, who just smelling it burned my nostrils, and eesh. And then we did an extra stop, and we saw the Kelpies, which are Falkirk, I think it was Falkirk. These great big metal horse statues. They're just like out in the middle of nowhere. Amazing. You can Google kelpies if you want. It was fascinating and so cool. And so while we were in Scotland, we got to celebrate another birthday. We got to celebrate our team member Brandy Streeter's birthday in Glasgow, and we had a lot of pizza, and that was super fun. And went out on the town and checked things out a little bit. And then later that night, my phone rang again in the middle of the night, and I learned that one of my dearest friends, it's in my inner circle, had an accident and had fallen and had a very life-threatening diagnosis, and was in between worlds. Handful of hours. And in both of these experiences on this trip, my prayer really was the same prayer. And that was not for what I wanted. I think that's what we tend to do, is we pray for what we think the best good is. But my prayer is always what is for the highest good of the person that's involved. Um, and and so I had to lean on that again, step into that contrast and lean on that, and again feel pulled to want to be home, and also know that I was I was where I needed to be. And those situations are hard. Um, everywhere, like you could see the green man's face all over, and it was just um, amazing. And I did a ceremony there under the energy of the full moon, and that was really sacred. The um, the journey there, we really kind of focused on what we were being asked to release and what we were being asked to open up to, and to throw whatever we were wanting to release into the water. And whether that was fear or control or disappointment, um, uh, old versions of ourselves, old stories. And that was a really powerful place. And then we got the opportunity to go to the Rosslyn Chapel. And we did a lot of churches, a lot of chapels, a lot of cathedrals, a lot of castles. And they were all unique, and they were all interesting in and of themselves. And then we did the Edinburgh. So here's that. So the way you spell Edinburgh is Edinburghs. You'd think that it is Edinburgh's, but it's Edinburgh. And so Edinburgh is we got to do a tour there, a ghost tour, where we went down into an underground city, basically. And then the very last day, we did the Edinburgh Castle, and it was our last full day, where we got to spend some time in that space. There's so much history in Ireland and Scotland. Not all fun history, not all positive history, not all warm, feel good history, like death and betrayal and protection and castles and moats and guns and bombers and like all that kind of stuff. So certainly not easy on the heart necessarily, but still, I like to learn history in the land, not just in my head, right? So what I noticed when I got home is that when I was in Ireland and in Scotland and I got those phone calls and I felt that we have contrast and we try to skip past the contrast because it doesn't feel good. And what I recognize is that happens all the time. It's not just happening in when I'm in Ireland, it can happen at any time in our lives. We tend to build these walls. Most of us are kind of living different kinds of distraction or even disconnection, whether we're away from things or not. You don't have to go anywhere to feel disconnected. And so as I was thinking about that, I thought that it would be a great opportunity as I sat here today to, come on home, even though we're having Mercury retrograde problems with connection. Sorry, friends. That, travel is a way that we expand ourselves, and it's a way that we grow and we heal. And I believe that even though there was so much contrast, that I showed up for those beautiful souls that were with me in the highest and greatest way possible, and that the majority of them wouldn't have known that anything was going on without me sharing a small amount of what that was. And so then I started thinking about how now we're home and we're settling in and we're coming back into, the energy of life and what we do on a day-to-day basis, and our typical life, not just life in general, because obviously I was living there too. And I think that it was the way it was meant to be, and I don't always like that. And I'm sure that that could be true for any of you too. Sometimes we want to make changes to the way things are, and yet life is lifing and things are the way they are. So I'm grateful for the whole trip. Because of the situations that were happening, I did not do a great job of sharing any pictures and things like that via social media. I just did not have the capacity to hold the community that I was with traveling and hold my family and friends that were home and take care of myself in the way that I needed to. And I do feel bad about that. And I also feel like it was the right thing. So I want to acknowledge that as well. So now, before we move on to our heart-to-heart segment, which we will do today, I want to share something with you that I think will be of value. Two things, actually. The first one is, as we were talking about this trip, I am also just fine-tuning and wrapping up my next trip. And so I thought I would share it with you. If you love travel and if you're like, man, I want to get out and go somewhere and I want to learn about history, I found an amazing place to learn about history. And I don't think it's one that most people have been to. And it's one that there's certainly more there than meets the eye. And that is that we are taking a group of people to Croatia next May. And this one is different than we've ever done before. We've done cruises, we've done trips, and we travel by bus or van or plane, etc. But this one is different because we're traveling by boat. So we have rented a private yacht to take us from place to place to place. So it's just our group. It's only our group on the boat. There's only 30 people that are able to be on it. So there's no crowds and there's no rush. And we get to kind of set the pace the way that we want it. We get to avoid the buses and the big groups, and we get to cruise the Adriatic. So we get to stop where we want to, jump in the pool, swim, float, whatever, and then go into each city where we get to experience the environment, the history, the place, the food, the streets, the people, all the experiences. So I will not pronounce these correctly, but I did write them down. So we're starting in Sibenek, then we go to Split, then we go to Bol on Brock, then we go to Stari Grad, on Hvar, Korčula, and Mljet, and then we end up in Dubrovnik. One of the reasons I chose, because a lot of people have said Croatia, I don't even know where the hell that is. It's across from Italy. So what it's been said to me is that it is like how Italy was 250 years ago. So it's like old Italy. And it's people that have traveled the world, this has been a common. I love to travel, and I'm always asking, what's your favorite place? And for response as to what their favorite place in the world is, has been Croatia of all places. So that's why I'm going to Croatia. So if Croatia is a place that you are interested in, you can go and check out the details. There's the link, schooloflight.biz/Croatia. Super simple, schooloflight.biz/Croatia. It is, I think, going to be a really sacred journey. There's a lot of history there. So for those of you that like history, like I do, but like to live it, like live in the experience of it, it's fascinating. There's so many cool things that are going to happen there. So I hope you'll come and at least come check it out and spread the word if you know somebody that might want to go. We are about 2/3 sold out. So if somebody's interested, then they want to jump on. Okay. Or you want to jump on. Now, the other thing I want to share with you, in case you don't know, is that I have a free webinar tonight, and it's kind of going to talk a little bit about some of the things I've talked about for myself in this trip, and what the topic is. It's called coming back to yourself when you don't feel like you anymore. And so it's tonight at 5 o'clock Pacific time. It's a free webinar. And so you can join that webinar. Just go get yourself registered. Here is the link for that. And so this is going to be about learning how to really get connected to who you are and why you feel disconnected in the first place. Like, what's happening? Is something that's in your life? Is it your habits? Is it your patterns? Is it some of the people? So that we can really redirect our energy into what we want to experience, how we want to feel, so that you can feel more like who you are. So if you're interested in that free class, it's about 90 minutes, and I would love to have you come and join me. And again, you can share that as well. It's open for anybody that that is interested in joining. So now, my friends, we are going to dive into my favorite part of our time together, and that is our heart to heart with Sunny. So, heart to heart with Sunny is an opportunity for you to ask any question that you have about anything that you might want to know. It can be something that is, I'm not doing readings here, but it could be something that is a personal question that you have for your life. It could be a question you have for me. It can be a perspective question, any and all questions. So you can use the chat to ask those questions, and I will be watching that chat. But we always get a few questions that come in advance, and so I'll answer a couple of those first, and then I'll come to the chat and answer your questions there. But let's dive into our heart to heart with Sunny. All right. So now it's time for Heart to Heart with Sunny, friends. Go ahead and use that chat and ask your questions in there. And maybe you have questions about the Ireland Scotland trip. That's great too. I'll answer any of them. And if you're watching this on replay, I will answer your questions. If you make a comment, I will answer your questions there. I read all of the comments, so feel free to answer those or ask those questions in there as well, and I will answer them as they come up as well. Okay, so let's see. My first question that came in advance. What's something you've been afraid to admit that you don't actually want anymore? What's something you've been afraid to admit you don't want anymore? Wow. I don't read these questions in advance because I feel like then it's like a canned answer. What is something you've been afraid to admit you don't want anymore? I don't know if there's something I've been afraid to admit, but I would say there's probably some things that I haven't said out loud, maybe to other people, that I don't want anymore. I will tell you that one of the things that just comes to mind is I do not like drama in any way, shape, or form. I don't like it. I like communication. I like conversation. I like expression. I don't like drama. And so I don't feel like I'm afraid to admit that. I feel like I've talked about that before, but maybe I just have even more and more clarity that I think drama is a waste of energy that doesn't serve us. Like, let's get some clarity. Let's get some communication. Let's get some conversation going. We don't have to agree in order to have clarity. We don't have to agree in order to be friends. We don't have to agree in order to come to a place of um, honor or acknowledgement of where somebody else is at. But drama in and of itself is a waste of energy to me. So I guess that's my answer. If your business or your work is an extension of your soul, is there anything that feels out of alignment right now in your life? Boy, these are deep questions, you guys. If your business or your work is an extension of your soul, is there any area that feels out of alignment right now? I would say that yes. And I would say what feels out of alignment for me right now in my business is that it's in community and my memberships and things like that. But I don't feel like my social media presence is in alignment with who I am completely and what I want to offer. Social media takes a lot of time, the least amount of attention in my business. And so I feel like it doesn't get the message in the way that I would prefer it to be shared. So that was a deep question. All right, let me see. Let's go to, can we talk about cord cutting? Rhonda, great question. I don't believe in cutting cords. I don't think cutting cords works. I think it just creates a need for another cut of the cord. So instead, I believe in unplugging from somebody's energy, taking a plug and unplugging versus cutting. And the reason for that is because I think I'm going to cut the cord. Let's just say we cut it in the middle. Well, that cord is still plugged into me. And I'm going to go and I'm going to find something that is connected to that feels like the same energy or the same frequency. And I'm just going to plug back into somebody else. So I'm not a fan of the cord cutting. I'm more a fan of plugging in and unplugging from people. So that's actually what I teach, is how to unplug from energies that do not serve you or that are not helpful for you, instead of cutting the cords. And I know I went out and in for a little bit, so I hope that came in. I hope you were able to hear that. Let's see. Okay, you lost me. Yes. So that cord cutting, say this part's connected to me. Well, then I'm going to go and I'm going to look for exactly what I just disconnected from in somebody else. And I don't think that's healthy. So that's why I don't really believe in cord cutting. I'm more of, let's use our power and our energy and take our power back from the experience. Let's see. I don't like drama either. I prefer communication no matter how hard it is. Yes, agreed. What was my favorite part of Ireland? Did I get talking to many of the locals? I talked to a lot of locals, and they were so great. I didn't meet anybody that was not cool in Ireland or Scotland. They were all freaking fantastic. I know that this was a super, super shitty connection. I am so sorry that we've had so many issues. I am going to chalk it up to, Mercury retrograde, but I'm really apologize for all the ons and offs. I don't know if we'll be able to even put something together from this recording. So let's see. Thinking of moving from Portland or wondering from Portland. Allie, I don't know if that's a question, wondering where. Like, I would need a little more information on that, Allie, but I do feel like a move is a good option for you. I can tell you that. Yeah, so I loved all the locals. In everywhere we went, I loved them all. Yes, you guys lost me. I'm so sorry. So sorry about Mercury retrograde, guys. So sucks. Okay, friends. So we're going to wrap this up because it's been painful. I know it's painful for you guys to sit on this and go back and forth and back and forth. I am so sorry that the connection has sucked so bad, and we're going to see if we can do something about that. And sometimes Mercury retrograde just makes us let go and have no control. But I do want to remind you to go and join our webinar so that you can come and hang out with me tonight. It's a free class. I'm going to put the link in the comments so that you can go and grab it there. If you do want to come and join the webinar, I think that it's going to be a great webinar about coming back to yourself and being able to take your power back and step into your power. So I went ahead and threw that link in there. I hope you guys can see it. Thank you for being patient today with the Mercury retrograde. I really appreciate that. Thank you for your love and your support as well, and letting me share some of the trip stuff. It's so fun to share. I wish I could do like a little screen cap as I was sharing with all the pictures, but I might do one of those. I might actually do a little live where everybody can come and join on Zoom and we can just talk about the trip, because I think that would be fun to do. So, okay. Thank you guys so much. I love you all. I hope you have a beautiful day. Come and join me tonight for the webinar. Again, schooloflight.biz/webinar. I hope to see you there. Have a great one. Love you all, guys.